Welcome to the world united. Welcome to the world united.
We'll start with the panel discussion. I request Neha, Nishika, of course, Talula and Vasant and others to join us on this discussion, and request Ankita to share the topic for this panel discussion uh, in which we'll participate.
Floyd, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, I think I was one of the speakers in this panel. I think so.
Yeah, that Ankita, is it Krishna is part of this panel, or how is it? No, Ankita, your whole system is not working. So anyway, so Krishna, you want to speak or you want a panel discussion first? What do you want to do?
I don't mind anything, so you can.
Yeah, okay. So we'll start with the panel discussion because they've all girdled up their loins, tightened their belts to join. So I don't want to pull them back now. So let's be a little spontaneous. And Krishna will also share her thoughts towards the end of the panel discussion, whatever she has planned. And also, as part of the panel discussion, welcome Nishika, Talula. I'm also adding Neha to the spotlight. So you guys can discuss. Ankita, please share what is the topic.
Yes, spirituality and society.
Okay, so Ankita, you'll have to re-log in or do something about your internet. It's not working. So let's. The discussion here is awakening the understanding and experience of oneness in humanity. So our theme is spirituality and society. So how does spirituality work with society, and how do we apply it, and how does society teach us spirituality in return? I think that is where we want to arrive at. So honestly, I have not made the topics for the panel discussions, but that is what I'm understanding, is that how do we give something of so-called spirituality to society? So I would like all the four panelists to share what they mean, what these two words mean to them, spirituality and society. And then I think you guys can jam up and see what can come up out of that, because I think everyone will have a little bit of different interpretations. Neha might have a more yogic perspective. Nishika will have a more perspective based on her struggles, and Talula will have her own exposure. So let's go ahead. We'll start with Talula, spirituality and society.
So how do I see this while working with children? There are two aspects come about. One is when children are distraught at home. Maybe they're unhappy with certain decisions by their parents or situations. They often come running saying that I want to leave home, or I'm not able to deal with it. I want to end my life, or something like that. So, one of the challenges is, again, we talk about healing, we talk about love. These are the tenets of spirituality in a way. And how do we practice it? So, generally, we often bring to light to children that the family is important, because family is representative of so many things, right? When we talk about what we do and practice in terms of spirituality. So we say that we need to, whatever it may be, you need to tell in a nice way to your family members that I'm unhappy with this situation. I want to leave. Whatever you do, you need to do it in a good way. That means you need to change your method of negativity, aggression, to come to a point where you can dialogue. So I think dialogue is very important. And then, of course, you work with the challenge. You look at your flaws, you accept the problems that you have, and you work on them in a very positive manner. Since we work with children coming from different backgrounds, we put together all of them as a team, because if you look at it in society, we can't be alone. We can't handle things alone, or it is not my decision. So we teach them how to take a collective decision, how to be empathetic with each other, and then to come up with a solution by which everybody is happy. So this is my take of accepting, working with your team, working with the family, and dialoguing.
Very nice. So, Nishika, you want to go?
Sure. My experience with society initially was not great. I was bullied as a child in school because of who I am. And I have faced this bullying throughout my life, even now. Of course, because of my identity of being a transgender woman. But what I also think, once I've got on to my spiritual path is society presents us with a mirror of who we are. And I guess discrimination, being biased, all of that is within me as well. I discriminate, I am biased. And so I think as part of my spiritual journey is maybe I don't like playing tennis with a particular playing partner, but instead of avoiding that person, now I kind of say that, hey, what do I have to learn from this person about myself? So I look at my spiritual journey in terms of society as it just presents, hey, this is what you are as well, So I look at it that way.
It's very interesting for someone like me, because I consider myself as quite insensitive in some ways. So it's very difficult for me to put myself in the shoes of, someone like Nishika and, of course, you cannot wrap your head around it, but, it's very difficult to understand what she might have gone throughout this circumstance, so it's something that, gives a lot of room for introspection. So Neha, would you like to share something about spirituality and society?
Yes, thank you, Floyd, sir. Firstly, there are some simple points which have put a very humongous impact and how I live my life. So firstly, for me, spirituality is something which helps to have the courage during turmoil and also keeps us grounded when we are overwhelmed with joy, right? So there is one nice shloka which says how we can live a very simple, focused, yet spiritual life. Kaka cheshtha, bako dhyanam, shwana nidra, tathaivacha, alpahari, grahatyagi, vidyarthinam panchalakshanam. It is very rightly said throughout the life we are or we should be living like a student, learning from each and every one at each and every point in our life, right? So here it says we should have continuous efforts like a crow till we reach that epitome of whatever ultimate oneness to the higher source which we are aiming for. So continuous efforts like a crow till the success is achieved, then having concentration like a crane, bako dhyanam, shwana nidra, having sleep like a dog, eating less, alpahari, grahatyagi, being ready to sacrifice home and the comfort zones which we are all blessed with. Then having had these knowledges, which are considered having attained these specific epitome, we can thereby be as a lifelong learner trying to learn. There is a nice saying in Marathi. I don't know how many of you all know Marathi, but it says, वाचाल तर वाचाल. इसका मतलब ये है कि अगर हम जिंदगी में पढ़ते रहेंगे तभी हम सही मायने में जिंदगी को जी पाएंगे, क्योंकि it is like just survival of the fittest. And the role of being spiritual is trying to be doing swadhyay, swa adhyayan, also reading the literatures which have been written by great people around the globe. with that, I would like to wrap up my points. Thank you so much, Floyd sir, and the rest team.
Thank you, Neha. Uh, Krishna, would you like to share something on spirituality and society?
Yes, sure. Well, I really feel that society and us is not different. It's just a reflection what we are going within. So sometimes things which are not resolved from inside, and if triggered from the external surface, and it just comes up, and then we tend to look out in the society and pointing it out, saying that okay, this is something which I don't like, what's happening. But if we come within and see what is it that is really bothering you externally, which is really triggering something within you, there's a lot of deepening there. Because in my life, through my childhood, I've gone through a lot of trauma, mental trauma, physical trauma, people telling me how to behave, how to dress, and I tried to be, be the sugar, or the eye candy of people, trying to fit in and behaving the way, uh, like to be accepted in the society. So I kept doing all this, and to one point where I really felt whatever I was doing was a big struggle for me. It wasn't coming very easily. I had to really like try to fit in myself. And that's when I realized that when I kept coming back to myself, I realized that all these people who I felt were did wrong to me. In fact, they were my benefactors. They were the ones who cracked me open. And even though it was not a very pleasant way, but I really cracked open, and to a point where I felt all that I was try to fit in myself. And yes, all that I was, that's not me. It was everything that I had put on, to just fit in the society. But the moment I shed all that, and I'm still shedding a lot of things, it's not that I've completely, healed my wounds. I'm still working on myself, but I'm not in any hurry right now. So I'm just taking things slow. But I've seen that in my circle, in my universe, I've manifested people who have shared themselves, who have really seen themselves naked, fully open, what not what somebody else wants them to do. So I'm so grateful to meet such people, because it's just a reflection. Because how you are, you're going to see the same reflection in front of you. So the more you see the lighter side of you, or like somebody who can add the spark in your life, somebody who triggers something in you, it's basically just to help us deepen our own search. So I really feel the society and us are so interconnected. Thank you.
Very nice, Vatsava. Thanks for sharing your own experience. And yeah, I think as Talula mentioned about children, having traumatic experiences at home. But for me, I don't think I had much of traumatic experiences at home. But when my parents died, because both my parents died before the age of 30. So that became very traumatic and shocking, because when you've had this entire, what do you say, uh, cover, or, care and nurturing, which our parents do, and they do at the, especially the mothers, they do it at the cost of, their own life, their own, lot of their own ambitions, things like that. My father passed away when I was only 19 years old, and he had a plan to travel the world. He said, when my sons complete engineering, I will travel the world, and I will do things. And it just didn't happen, By the time I was passing out college, he was gone. Then my mother said, that, okay, now I'll run your father's business. And, and then, like, we had just started working, my brother and I. And then as it became time, for her to slow down the business, since we had started earning, it was time for her to leave, So we don't know, when our tickets are booked you know. So if Daryl says something to me, I'll feel bad, I'll get upset, but we never know when our tickets are booked, you know. So it's like really very strange, you know, how life operates, how life works. So when I was 29, 30 years old, I decided to myself, in astrology, we call it Saturn return, you know, 30 years of age. So when I was 29, 30, I said, see, whatever little money I've earned by working in corporate, by working in academics, let me travel. Let me travel at least a bit, you know. And I started traveling for 2, 3 years. I was going to places in India, places, Thailand, UK. So I decided to just live with whatever money I have rather than wait, you know, postpone my life because of the way my parents probably did. And they had their own thing, you know, why they did it. And I was discussing with my friend Anup, who gave a talk just now, and he said every parent thinks like that, you know. He said, I'm from a completely different generation of parenting, but still I also think like that for my child. I postpone my life till my child, you know, gets married and things like that. So I think it's very interesting. So Vaishnavi, would you like to share anything in this regard? Just unmute yourself. You're having the same problem like your dad of unmuting.
I'm so
I
sorry.
think it inherited the problem of
Yes,
unmuting.
absolutely. So I agree to all of you, whoever you all have shared about this, and it is so important that that little importance, little attention. Also, you have to put in yourself for your happiness also. So doing things in love, giving things in love. I think it is kind of a 50-50 thing, it is like a balanced thing. It's not only about yourself also, but it's about giving also. So and that's how I feel society should be like, they should just understand the other person, should not be in control sort of. So and that's how one grows. If we are making mistake, then we will grow, and we should also let others to grow, so that we should give that time to each and every one. So yeah, so right.
Yeah, okay, very good. So our panel is growing spontaneously, you know. So we have our good friend, Mr. Daryl D'Souza, also around. So Daryl, would you like to share your experiences of spirituality and society and raising children and things like that?
Thanks, Floyd, and good afternoon, everyone. Wonderful to be here and join you all. Um, yes, I'm not a parent, so I won't speak about children, but yes, on the spiritual journey, um, it's I'm seeing that it's a long journey, and it, you know most human beings feel that they are almost reached the point that they want to reach, uh, and when they reach that point, they understand there's much further to go. So it's all about more and more awareness, and what you allow to come into your own field of awareness, and expand yourself. Accordingly, you will get those experiences, and then you have a chance to respond to them. I've been seeing that so many people have gone through traumatic experiences, and I have also understood that it's not our fault completely because of the way the world is structured. And we are seeing the meaning of that word, that statement now, with what's going on. Um, so I find a lot of brave everybody who's trying to understand what's going on, trying to understand themselves, trying to speak to others, have the right response. I find them as the people doing a lot of work, and deeper inner work. And I also respect others who are not so vocal, not so forthcoming in front, because they are doing a lot of inner processing themselves, um, and preparing themselves for, to come outward more. So that's a very authentic journey, and respect to them as well. So that's what I feel. We are all in the journey, and there's a clarion call now, as we know, across the earth of coming together. And the biggest call is, how do we solve this situation, this problem, whatever we call it, globalists and all of that. And so many of us are working on it in our own special way. We are all parts of the jigsaw, which I call making new earth. Uh, and it's been a good journey. It's a tough journey. We all have understood that, but if we hold each other's hands and come together in events like this, and through such commitments of working uh, to make this our lives and our community and this world a better place, it's really wonderful. So I have also been on this journey, and uh, I every time I reach a point where I understand that more can be done if you choose to, and so I'm within that, not taking a little more, then stepping a little back till because we need our comfort zones in between, and if we don't have them, we've seen cases of crash and burn. So uh, that's the time we need more to go inward again, rejuvenate, and then come back out. And it's a process that some people do on a daily basis, with their morning meditation practice, evening silence practice to take in what happened through the day. So overall, I think if we look deeper, we are all having a really deep and a wonderful experience.
Very nice. I have a question. Sorry, who's down there? Yeah, so I have a little bit of a question for Talula. Like, the way our schooling system is, so is it conducive for the kind of work that you're doing, or what are the changes you're looking into? Because from what I've understood is you're working on the healing of children who are at different stages, maybe in unprivileged positions at times. So is our schooling system conducive? Is it improving? Where is it going? We had Varun Carvalho on our inauguration panel, and he goes to schools, he conducts meditation, he tries his own way of doing things. So like, what is required and what are the important steps as far as the schooling system is concerned, education system?
So I agree with you, and I want to assert here that no, our schooling system is not well equipped, and there's a lot of lacunae. And one of the biggest lacunae is, this social empathy, and in terms of volunteering for social causes, and that's what we are doing. With the community classroom setup that we have, where we have mixed children, we have children from different backgrounds, social backgrounds, religious backgrounds, let us say, less privileged, more privileged, lots of other issues also. And so what we do is, when we bring them together, it is not in isolation like formal schooling does, that okay, 10th standard will be put in one grade, 5th standard or first standard will be put in one grade. They are all put together in one single classroom, and children teach children. So one is, you have a mentor and you have children teaching children, because that is important, to feel that you are contributing something, both at an individual level, for yourself, for another person who is like you, and of course to the community is important. And what we are doing now is, a lot of people are reaching out to say that, can we have the community children come to our school? Can we have the community children come for this particular initiative? where we are doing working for a social cause. So it's generally like that. And that is important because there is again sharing of empathy between children who have never seen a social issue. They have not been exposed to problems that children face back at home, whether it is discrimination, whether it is loss of a parent, all this comes to light. And that kind of social work, I think that exposure is very important. Now there are only few schools, and I would say the privileged schools, which are looking at engaging their students with social work or community work. But I think en masse we need to do. Recently, I had two teachers. One is a university teacher and one is a college teacher. Both are PhDs who came and said that, now the government has mandated that we have to do 75 hours of community service. And can we do something with the initiative that you run? So I think that is a good step, but I think it needs to start right at the level where children are learning. And I think even with me personally, I learned a lot of things with dealing with children, having them in my shared space. They were using all my space. And I learned how to discriminate less. How do I share my own space with some children, without saying this is mine, that is mine? I would have friends questioning me, you know, what if the children steal from you? What if the children do this, do that? You're taking in a child who is going to at the end of his life, who wants to take his life away. What if you take him or her under your fold and there is an untoward incident? I think we need to be fearless when we care, and that caring for society we need to teach, because it is something that we have forgotten. So that is, I think, the crux of the matter. Every school should adopt the module of social service, and it needs to begin right from kindergarten.
Very nice, Talula. Nice to hear from you about all these topics. I don't have children, and neither I have nephews, nieces who I can, talk about children. So it is good to know about this topic. But definitely, I have a lot of clients who have children. So, can you quickly throw some light on this, alternate ways of schooling? And I'll also tell Neha to come in after that, because she's learning in a sort of Gurukul system, which is the ancient Indian system. But then there are these systems like Waldorf and, Rudolf Steiner
Yes.
and things like that. So what is your opinion, or are these some of the models that you consider, or how is it?
Yeah, I've heard of the Waldorf and many others, Cal School and many others. Some that even adopt, methods like the International Baccalaureate. Again, what is key is to do a lot of practical learning. I learned about more than 10 years ago, when I was engaging with the colony children or children from other schools. When I went for the first time to teach about environmental conservation, where I was questioned. They said that you don't have, a teacher's training certification, and you have never seen a tiger. How are you going to teach children this? So I think it is important to learn from experience. And today, what is happening in most schools, everybody is learning from a book, right? And it is horrific to see children know more about germination from a book, but they have not seen how seeds actually germinate, and how, when you work with soil, when you water soil, you place a seed there, you can have an entire food forest. So I'm one who has been pushing this, let's say, with my own, team. I'm an practicing architect. So I'm generally pushing them out to go on site and not work in the office. When we have children, we teach. I've been promoting something called the outdoor learning module. So if I have to teach small children about water, about forest, I take them to the forest, I take them to a freshwater spring and conduct a lecture there. If it is to teach children about that mud building is our tradition, and we can build structures which can last for 1,000 years, I'm not talking about hundreds, then we do that by practically learning, going on site or doing a workshop. And we are already working with children and we are doing farming together in Taligaon. Right. So basically, all learning should be practical learning, and we can do this whether it is the Gurukul system or the many other outdoor learning systems. And traditionally, how did we learn? A farmer's son would learn by just walking with his parents in the field. He or she may not have known the scientific names, right? But from observation and practice. And the same child knew about what kind of herb, what kind of plant medicine was good for a certain ailment without having a certification from a medical school. Similarly, there were children learning how to build like masters. So I think we need to make that shift to practical learning, experiential learning. There are few schools who have started it, they're nascent steps, and but it needs to be practiced en masse. It needs to be done in our government schools, which are in pathetic condition today. It needs to be done in private schools. It needs to be done at home, because at home also is the first point where children learn.
Yeah, when you spoke about mixing the students, it reminded me a bit of what we are doing at the World United. So we are bringing students from yoga, meditation,
Right.
just adult students, but still students. So bringing all together. So, Neha, do you want to throw some light on the Gurukul system, how you find it different living in an ashram and learning, as opposed to what you did in a college? And then we'll come to Krishna's talk after that. 3:30, we have the next session. So you can, Neha, quickly share your experience in 2 minutes. Then we'll listen to Krishna about her topic. And Krishna is going to talk about just being, which is going to be a break from all these talks. And that will be a good way to start the next panel, which we are going to have. So Neha, go forward.
Thank you, Floyd sir. Yes, so I would like to make a small correction. Sir, you should do come and visit our university. It is such a beautiful, fully equipped, a very best in class facilities of sports, fully equipped labs consisting of computer lab, science, physics, chemistry labs. So it is no more like an ashram as such. However, it was started long back when it had its own footsteps. It had to take small steps, and now it has been such a beautiful where we actually do skating in the evening. So gone are the days where
Neha, just to interrupt, what I'm asking is more about the system, because
right, exactly.
like in terms of, this, I don't know where the ashram where you say probably it operates more on a Guru Shishya approach,
I'll speak about
whereas,
it.
in a college, there's an approach of textbooks, So what Talula said, it really is something which I resonate in my spiritual life. In my spiritual life, rather than going to a yoga school, I would rather live with a yogi. Rather than, so like when I went to Vrindavan, there was a sadhu. He invited me, he said, come and stay with me. So and he was on the Bhakti mark, he was into chanting mantras and all those things. And I was very interested in that. And he said, if you want to meditate, if you want to do your sadhana, come and stay with me. And I spent a night with him. I saw his lifestyle, how he used to live. He did not have, he had just 4 walls, 4 walls, and on top flat slab. That's it. And then there are beds. 2 beds were there. He said on one bed you sleep, one bed I sleep. And rest of that, he had one electric connection point. There was no sink, there was no wash basin, there was nothing, none of the amenities which we have at home. So it was, a very different way of living, and the way he lived, the way he walked barefoot in the sun, the way he did his sadhana, to observe all of that. On top of that, he had a very peculiar habit. He's a bit like Vasant. Vasant feeds dogs, but he liked to feed ants. He had a habit of feeding ants, with the mithai. He used to buy mithai sweets and feed ants. So he said millions of ants can feed on a kilo of mithai. And that was his way of serving the ants, So So I'm talking more about the way of learning. So do you find any difference, or how is it? It was just a curiosity.
So we have got Acharya Kulam system. Acharya Kulam is a place where students who come from the age of 5, है ना, 5 साल की उम्र से लेकर के 12वीं कक्षा तक के बच्चों को पढ़ाया जाता है. The main purpose of that is that so that outside whatever background you may be coming from, but when we are at the place of guru, or when we are at the place of, okay, I'll keep my camera in horizontal mode, something like that. I got a message. Yeah. So when we are in that zone, we should be synchronized and being in that frequency, so that we should not influence others in the bad way. Similarly, here from the divine spiritual perspective, we have a daily early morning routine, starting waking up at 4 o'clock. Then we have to have our morning schedule, natural call, and we have yoga abhyas, after which we have yajna havan daily. The yajna havan daily purpose is that firstly we should be thanking the super source from where we come from. And these are the small steps which pave a long way in thereby nurturing us, right? So when I speak about more spiritual side of this Guru Shishya Parampara, in order to make sure that the modern students, or like students of modern people, don't do not feel little worried of their child to put them in this boarding school. There are so many different activities which are also being carried on side by side for the overall development of the child, consisting of recreational activities and the other things as well, because overall students development has to be done in all different arena. And I feel a Guru Shishya Parampara is a wonderful example of it, which consists of giving or paying a respect to the teacher and learning the things. Because when we have a gratitude towards our teacher, we are thereby also having gratitude towards the knowledge that we are seeking. And that sense of humbleness paves a long way in every walk of life. So for me, that is the spirituality where we should be humble towards the knowledge we seek for. Thank you.
नेहा तू अजून कोंकणी याद असा तुका काय कोंकणी विसरले?
हय हय हांव घरा कोंकणीनच उलयता.
Okay.
Lloyd, if I would like to add something to this education.
कोंकणी सामके विसरले म्हणून.
ना 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 म्हाका कोंकणी बऱ्यापैकी कळटा आणि कोणे विचारल्यार मराठी बरोवपाक शकता.
Okay, so Neha will be the official translator for Goa Wow event.
Yes, it would be my pleasure, sir.
Yeah.
Lloyd, could I add something to the education system?
Please.
Yes, so there's an important point that I want to bring forth. Without getting into much detail, we are seeing that, especially in Goa, people are leaving cities like Mumbai, Delhi, Bangalore, even Pune, on the grounds of it's getting too polluted, it is too congested, and it's too stressful, and we are getting sick over there. So they're coming to Goa because there is more greenery and all of that. So what we need to understand is that these metro cities or smart cities, they have not become like this on their own. They have become like this of certain technologies being taught in all of these university schools and being implemented. And so that's so I think that yes, besides health problems, the city model, the metro cities and all, they're even causing damage to the oceans through all the sewage water, and there is so much of carbon footprint coming from them. And this is all very well illustrated in our video that's called Making New Earth, that we've done at the New Earth Summit through the Earth Keepers Network that I work with. And it is now, we understand that with that kind of model, the earth doesn't have, in terms of, non-renewable resources, another even 25 years to go. Because y'all would have heard in the newspapers, right, some months back, that half of the coal plants in India had just coal for 3 days and all of that. And now we don't have enough of oil. So what is up is an entire reschooling, that means an unschooling of the damaging ways in how we have structured society, and a reschooling of ways that are very natural and organic. And what we've done in this project is made a new model of holistic living that has got a lifespan of 2500 years. And we call it, the entire design for the Dwapara Yuga. And people ask me, then what happens? Is it again like Mayan calendar, end of the world? So I said, no, no, we will all be there, all of us together, and we will discuss at that time what are the finer technologies and more organic things that will take us to the Treta Yuga. So what I see now is that, this model that we're talking of, a decentralized system of education. And what is the teaching? The teaching is how to make, holistic communities that are very low carbon footprint. And so there, everything comes for reschooling. That is the kind of medicine system you will use, an integrative natural medicine system, like natural home buildings, what, Talula does. Then the water systems, your food growing systems. And the best place are these holistic communities where we have open schools where children learn all of this. We are actually at that point where children will have to learn, right from scratch, right from how your food is grown naturally to how. There's a wonderful topic that I presented on the New Earth Summit, and it says the title is life, food, medicine, products, homes, uh, even education from plants. So if you're going to get all of these things from plants, you see, then it becomes so important that our schools, they happen in natural environment systems. And there's a deep topic that plants, I spoke about this on a webinar, that plants are the greatest teachers on this planet. Now, people will find that difficult to understand. But if you go through the final loop and you see how, the plants that it is the plants who give us all our nutrients, that give us all our finer capacities of intelligence, creativity, and all of that. Literally, whether human beings, at least the body, is a product of plants. So our physical body is actually the child of a plant. So I'm just giving that perspective for people to understand and do watch our videos. It's on our website also, the new Earth, the earthkeepersconnect.org. So there we are doing a decentralized system of education where the wellness centers, where we teach natural medicine, because part of natural medicine is how to make healthy food, how to make your herbs, essential oils, also your microgreens to grow healthy food, and finally, even how you make all these products and services and have a local circular green economy. So all of that is, up for the education system. I think the teachers are going to have the biggest workload of learning right now, I think, over the next 10 years.
Thank you, everyone. Views? Yeah, sorry, who was that? Okay. So thank you everyone for sharing on this panel. Thank you, Talula, for joining us. Thank you, Daryl, Talbot, Neha, Nishika, everyone. Thank you. And definitely we look forward for more guidance, more support from all of you to take this World United wings, the wings or councils as we call them, to take all of these things forward. Definitely we are planning in May and June, we are planning a summit for North Goa and South Goa in the same way, but it will be at a district level. So I'll share the links with all of you on the group. And if you guys want, you can join it, either North Goa, South Goa, wherever you are placed. And we can have a wonderful summit at the district level and understand more, just like we're understanding more at a Goa level right now. So I'll request Krishna to give her talk, and then I'll request Talbot to take over because Talbot is one of our most proactive moderators. So I request him to take over after Krishna and go ahead with the session. And Krishna, are you there? Quickly, you can start your session on just being.
So, hi everybody. First of all, I feel really grateful to be a part of this beautiful Sangha, and where we all come together to share from our own personal experience and with the intention to help the world heal and do a deep learning for ourselves. So the word just being, was always very, I was very curious about the word just being because since my childhood, I was told how to be. You have to be this, you have to be that, you have to talk this way, you have to dress this way. And I kept, you know, putting these layers on myself and telling myself that this is me, this is how I am, to such an extent that I felt I became a rebel. And then I said, no, this is me. I'm the rebel. I don't listen to anyone. This is how I do my things. So that went for quite a long time. And as you say, right, in our lives there comes a peak where something happens, of push from the universe, or it can be either through your health or through some experience or something, where all this construct which you have built around you just falls, and then you are left like, oh my god, all this while I thought this was me and that was me, or they told me that this is me, and now I can't see any of that. So now who I am? So that thought really freaked me out. I felt that I'm not an artist anymore, because I remember in 2015, I had a severe depression attack where the muscle of my right hand went into a severe fatigue, where I just couldn't move my fingers, and I couldn't hold a brush or a pencil. So all the subtle things which I used to do, I just couldn't do that. And knowing myself grow, I was always the person who took the lead, someone who always was like a leader, taking people around, and maybe being a college representative or something or the other, always taking the lead and creating the space. And never, I was never in a space where I'm needing for some help. But in 2016, I was in so much of dilemma. For even the slightest thing, I needed help, like just tying a pony or just cutting my nails, because I had no strength left. And all that I had thought about myself just kept peeling off, peeling off, peeling off. And I was just left with nothing. And then slowly, slowly, because the spiritual seed had always been in me since my childhood. Because I've always seen my father used to meditate, do yoga. He used to sit with us and just tell us, close your eyes. We can chant Om together. So that was always there since childhood, and this and the experiences which I went through, even traumatic experiences or whatever. In the midst of those experiences, though there was a lot of pain and suffering, but I also experienced a moment of peace when I was with myself, which I never understood. That how can I be at ease when I'm alone, when I'm with myself, that I couldn't see in the midst of that, in those situations. So as I grew up, I started, spending a lot of time with myself, either going in the fields, just sitting by myself, watching the buffaloes have bath and watching the birds. So that was how I was growing up. And when in 2015, when this particular incidents happened, uh, I was really seeking for some answers to know myself, like who am I? And all this while, I've been, touching something and coming back, touching something, coming back. There was no, answers, or I couldn't understand what was there. And so 2015 was a transformational part for me, where my spiritual journey actually became very deep. And that was the time I was really seeking for a guru to just help me, guide me something, because I'm ready. I'm like, I'm nothing. So you can just mold me the way you want me to mold, and I'm ready here. So that's how Sadhguru came in my life, and I completely surrendered to him because my mind wasn't working, my body was weak. So I just said, okay, whatever he has to tell me, whatever he has to make me do, I'm gonna do it. And if it's gonna help my body strengthen, yes, I'm gonna go for it. If it's gonna help my mind, give me peace, I'm gonna do that. So the journey started there. And as I was going in deeper within myself, I realized that just being is something that you don't do. You don't make an effort to be. It is something which you already are. The moment you start dropping these things which you have built due to social construct or family construct, anything, you come in that contact of that deep peace within yourself. And that is absolutely natural. It doesn't need any effort. You don't need to do some tap or jump or anything. This is in my experience. I do chanting when I want my mind to be, really stable, or I do my meditations regularly. But this, what I'm talking about, the beingness of yourself, was always here from the time we exist. And even before that, before the form came in this world, that life was always here, and now it's here, right here, and with us. So the beingness, or just being, made me connect, or I would say made me drop things around me slowly. And I could somehow trust it. I could trust that it's okay to drop something. It's okay if something is making me heavy, like the thought of marriage, because I'm married, and the thought of marriage was making me heavy. I just said, okay, maybe for a moment I'll just keep it aside and see, am I the marriage, or am I something that has happened to me, or is that a role I'm playing? So we, as humans, we keep playing different roles. And in this process, sometimes we tend to believe that we are the role what we are playing. So if we are playing the role of somebody who has been victimized by something, by a situation, or someone has told us that, okay, you are like that, we somehow tend to believe that. But the moment you drop it, let me drop it and see who I am, then you will know that these are the roles which we are playing. And life becomes a play. It's no more as intense and as serious what we thought life would be. And here you have the freedom to be whatever you want. Once you know who you are within, you can be whatever you want, and you can dress the way you want. You can, you know uh, choose your hobbies or passions as per your likes. Nobody has any, say in that. You have the freedom to do what your heart really feels for you. So this is just being for me, where you come to yourself, you connect to yourself, be honest to yourself, that even if there are parts of you which you don't like, because sometimes uh, we tend to say, okay, I'm spiritual, so I have to be all goody goody, and I have to smile always, and I have to feel good always. But that's not the case. since we are in this form, we have the tendencies to feel the pain. We have the tendencies sometimes to get upset. We have the tendencies to, to respond, because sometimes it's just automatic, it just comes. But that doesn't determine who you really are. This is the character what we are playing, and each one of us is so special in our own way, and there's this beautiful uniqueness which we all have, yet we all are same. We all are one in this entire universe, entire consciousness, and that is something which connects us to other beings also, not only humans. We connect to the plants, we connect to the animals. Plants respond because I love plants, and every time I see my plant has bowed down or it needs some care, I just go to my plant and I talk to her. I'm like, what happened to you today? I watered you, but you still look a little down, but I'm sure you'll be fine. And the plant really responds. And it really amazes me that how is this possible? Here the human form is talking to another form, but there is this life exchange that's happening, which is the love that is being exchanged. And I think this love is so beautiful. It is universal. It is impersonal. And I think every step in our lives, what we take and what I have taken, I've realized that if I've taken the step with love, with the honesty that I love doing something, that love has guided me. Even though people have thought that this is not what you're meant to do, but something inside told me, no, I have to do this. Something tells me inside that this is for me. And I've gone there and I've done those things, and I've not regretted in my life. But the things which my mind has told me, analyzed, and tried to strategize, I found a lot of friction in those areas in the past. So now I keep coming back to that beingness, the natural beingness, the love which is here. And I take the guidance of that feeling to take my decisions. If I have to meet somebody, if I have to do any meetings, or if I have to take an important decision, the intelligence within me, it's I feel it's everywhere. We all have it in every cell of our body. It just tells us that if a decision is right or wrong, and we have to just take a pause, just connect back to ourselves through different ways you love doing. You might love cooking or swimming or anything what you love doing, but the moment you connect to that love which you love doing, you instantly get the guidance. Your mind clears up. There is this instant flow of creativity that comes up, and we can make better decisions. So yeah, so this is what I wanted to share with you guys, and this is what I'm practicing every day, to just being. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, Krishna. Very beautiful, very spontaneous. Thank you for your vulnerability. Really touched. So I think we will start the next session. Okay, and we had from morning a real celebration of such beautiful connects, such beautiful ideas and so many beautiful things happening. So it has been an amazing day. So all those who are watching online, good afternoon, good evening. And I welcome Daryl, Alvin, and Amrita. Of course, Alvin is not there, but Daryl and Amrita are here. So today we are going to deepen our understanding of the oneness with environment. And whom do we have? We have really people who are so passionate about the environment, each one doing their bit. So I'm very happy we have a wonderful team. Let's see together, let's connect together deeply to to go into this deep connect, which is a part of us, is our environment, and we can see what's happening all around. Such a beautiful topic to discuss. So we will start the session today with Daryl. And Daryl D'Souza is an inspiration to millions across the globe, thanks to his journey from 14 years of sickness to perfect health. Within a year of using the integrative natural medicine, and from where he wrote his book, Become Healthy or Extinct, he does disease reversal workshops across India and has created platforms for doctors, healers, therapists to work together. Daryl was the secretary of the World United Doctors and Healers Association for 5 years, which he curated and convened, and also the Mind, Body, Spirit Healing Conferences. He's also an industrial engineer, organic farmer, environmentalist, founder of the Earth Keepers Connect, and a convener of the New Earth Summit, India's first integrative summit on solutions to our problems in health, farming, and environment. So today, Daryl will be speaking on the threefold path of ahimsa for a new earth. It dwells on different ways we have been abusive to ourselves, to other species on the planet, and to the Mother Earth herself, and our corrective actions to bring about healing to all these domains. So over to you, Daryl.
Thank you, Talbot, and a very good afternoon to everyone on this wonderful platform of the World United. It's a privilege always to speak on topics close to my heart on this platform. So ahimsa, that is, of course, everyone of us knows the meaning is non-violence to the human body, to other sentient beings, and to the planet as well. Now, there are so many peaceful people, great meditators, people who have experienced nirvana and bliss, and sometimes, they are so clear, and they say that, I'm such a peaceful person, and obviously I do not commit any non-violence. So it all depends on our awareness and how expanded it is and what all it includes. So I remember it was in 2011 when I did my first spiritual retreat, when somebody asked me, one of the attendees asked me the all popular question, what is enlightenment? So I just thought about it, and I said something, there are so many definitions, but I just gave a reply that I thought I felt was sensible. And I said, it is the stage when the person understands the effects of their thoughts, words, and deeds, in the world. That means everything outside their own self. So, similarly, just a year after that, when I spoke at the first World Parliament on Spirituality in 2012, my topic was balancing mind, body, and spirit for developing equal levels of proficiency in our mind, body, and spirit to bring in the age of Aquarius. So I felt so strongly about that topic because that time I could see, of course, people are genuine and they make really good efforts, but I could see some people are excelling in the spiritual dimension. Some people were excelling in the mind dimension with techniques like, Silva, method of mind control, hypnotherapy, NLP, and all of that, but lacking in, for example, the physical dimension, certain aspects of physicality. So that's why I gave that talk. And So it's all about, the awareness. Now, when I say non-violence to the human body, people automatically think that yes, it means physical fighting, abusing, all of that. But it also includes anything that you do to your entire organism that is against its natural function. And it's so simple to understand that for people who understand, integrative natural medicine, it's so clear that so many of the chronic illnesses like high BP, cholesterol, diabetes, obesity, hormonal imbalance, and all of that, you know, is coming from, things that we are doing to ourselves, which we do not understand. And then it results in sickness. So again, it comes down to awareness. So a simple thing like, eating too much of processed and packaged food products that have got, toxic preservatives and stabilizers and artificial, taste enhancers and all of that. Just eating that is causing inflammation and indigestion. So we have to look deeper within ourselves, this physical body that we call the temple of the divine, right? We have to see what are we doing on a daily basis that is damaging this organism, because any kind of sickness and healing is a reply of your body telling you that you have assaulted me and I'm going into sickness. You're literally trying to damage and kill me, and here I'm trying to every day save myself. So we do so many things to the physical body, from the root of our food, from the root of inorganic products used on our hair, body, detergents, all of that. And um, our some physical habits also. So that's the first aspect of non-violence that I say to the human body. It only comes from deeper awareness, and if you keep yourself open to understanding this field of physicality and everything that is physical in the world that will interact with your physical body, then you will understand and take the right decisions of not committing violence to your physical body. And then of course in that your mind and spirit is also there. So uh, you understand about toxic relationships, you understand about disempowering beliefs and divisive beliefs. Now surely on our spiritual programs we know that so many religions that divide people among the world uh, are a very deep kind of mindset of divisive force. So we each find our path in unity as we explore and we open up to this and heal that part of ourselves. The second part of non-violence, I say, is to, if we have the intelligence to, we feel ourselves are, God's gift on this planet, or the most precious thing. And with a simple comparison, we can see that we are mammalian, sentient, vertebrates, for example. These are the things we can identify with. And then very close by, we love most of our pets, right? Like a dog and a cat also is got all your five senses. So it can experience trauma, a pain. We've seen tears coming out from the eyes of dogs and cows. So we know all of that. And so they also go through all the physical things that we do, of course, at different levels. And we are the ones who have to know the level at which we operate. Uh, Human beings have got an added gift from God, you can say, that is of thinking outside the box. That means you will see a cow, or doing its thing, eating its grass and all, but seldom you will ever see it looking at the sky and having a long gaze and wondering what the eagle is doing for going from this place to that place, right? So we know that they think there is a very natural, beautiful flow of their lives, and they always work within that. But human being has been given that capacity by Creator, universe, all there is, God, to also think about and care about other species on this planet, because that is what I have been teaching about that we are a hand of God, and this is literally a the Garden of Eden, and we have been given the position of a gardener, a caretaker, and our work is to see that as much of species, that means these are all God's creations. So we have been given that opportunity that as a hand of God, how are you helping to express everything that I have put on this planet, right? So when we take such a broad view, we know that violence to animals is also a damaging aspect to them. But of course, as it's only when each of us does our journey, and most of us know that we are going in this phase of what is called the ascension. So everybody's at a different space. So there are people who are have taken a deep practice and deep view, and they say we don't want to damage anything. We do not even want to damage plants, because I have taken my energy body to that level where I speak telepathically to plants, and they tell me their trauma when I cut them. So then that's the trauma a person is facing. Then they will develop their energy body and their siddhas to live on, for example, sunlight. That is like a sun yogi or a breatharian. So we can choose. It's according to our level of consciousness. If we align our thoughts, words, and deeds according to that, then we'll have the least amount of trauma and questions. So at one level of consciousness, that's where I reached in 2010. I stopped eating meats and fish and all of that. I became a vegetarian. And as my journey went further, then I became a vegan. So I was not even, having eggs or, for example, honey, which I felt, okay, the bees, yeah, we don't need to kill them. And then as an organic farmer, I understood the implications of that. Because literally some of the plants that I grew in my garden, amongst the fruits and vegetables, they were not germinating because not enough of bees were there. And I had to go and spend half an hour in the morning actually plucking the male flower and going and putting its seed on the female flower. So I had to do manual pollination. So this happened for the zucchini. This even happened for my bottle gourd, dudi, and all of that. So it's fine. As we expand our awareness, then we can be non-violent towards animals also. On one of the videos of the New Earth Summit, I gave the complete full circle science of nutrition, how it flows from the sun to the plants, from the soil and all of that. And if you see that, you will get a beautiful learning of how energy flows. And you can, at your level of consciousness, connect with that level of nutrition that brings you peace and uh, uh, cooperation with others. And the last part is non-violence to Mother Earth. And that is something so close to my heart. That's why in my book, Become Healthy or Extinct, on top each page, you will see a tagline there, seeking symbiosis with Mother Earth. Because I knew even in 2011 that I was still in a journey, and we all are, and still, even now, I'm in that journey of understanding deeper and deeper aspects of Mother Earth. And so much of what we are doing in the world today, whether it is, like I spoke earlier, this smart city level of development, which has is destroying the world so much. In a beautiful presentation, I have showed that everything in these smart cities that comes up, like all the buildings and all of that, they only come up at the cost of holes in the earth, whether it's mining minerals, all the plastic that is made from the crude oil, and all of your electricities that are generated from coal. And in front of that, I have showed another model, which is all that you have to do is just collect some seeds that are fallen from plants, throw them at the right time in the year on the ground, and the Mother Earth will bring up all these trees and resources, whether it is teak, whether it is rosewood and everything, to give you literally almost all the products that you need in your life, even your entire home. Of course, the stones and the sand and the mud can be from your local area. So here are two ways of looking at the entire system. So again, for those of you who have just come in, I will say please watch our video that's called Making New Earth. And over there, we talk of this, how badly we have worked with against the natural sciences of Mother Earth and the kind of violence that we have committed with her over the last 200 years. Now, with what's going on in the world now, people think that we are going to be in the matrix now with 5G and all of those controls. But you learn from that video that we have been in the matrix by people who have chosen to, control money, power, resources since the last 200 years. And we have done things not in our inner nature of peace, non-violence, and keeping things, clean and all of that. And before that, all the indigenous tribes of the world, they never did any of these things. They never did violence to the human body, never did violence to other, species unless they didn't know how, farming. You can't blame somebody when they don't have the intelligence of farming at a certain period of time. They were killing animals. But when they advanced to farming, then they decided to, kill less animals and be more farmers and grow their own food. And these communities also never did anything to damage the earth. So an important point to understand is that we have come from a space from these indigenous communities. And you'll notice one thing. If you see their local writings, their meaning of God, though it was in different languages, it is the same across the world because they lived in the real environment that is created by God. And over the last 200 years, we were moved into all of these concrete jungles where we were told that this is the meaning of God from the television, from the radio, and from the books. And so that became, the division across all the things that have happened. And that's how we made we manifested an earth that's, completely destroyed and damaged. And so all of us are going into deeper awareness to bring this back into a much more natural, format once again. So, so many of us, and that's our whole Earth Keeper community, we are in that space where we are trying to see our daily actions from the morning till the night. What are those actions that are damaging Mother Earth as well? And what is the alternative? How can we have the same things, but in a more beautiful and natural way? And that formula gave birth into this wonderful city where, of a certain size, 5 kilometers by 5 kilometers, where within 15 minutes walk, you can get to your workplace, to your market, to your spiritual place, to entertainment, to products and services. And you don't require any vehicles in that community. So you don't need to do more mining for vehicles. You don't need to buy food from other places because it's a self-sufficient community. So these are all the ways that we are working out on how to prevent, further damage to Mother Earth. And that's how, in that formula, it's beautiful to see that video. That's how we have come across step by step into this very 100% natural living model that we say has got a lifespan at least for the next 2,500 years. So it has been a long journey, I say, for humanity, that we had to go through all of this abuse to just have all the damage come upon us, to experience that trauma, to then birth a deeper intelligence. Because when you create a solution, its energy is always bigger than the problem. So, that's what I like with what is happening with us right now, all across the planet, and especially those people who have, have opened themselves up to see, and the simple question I ask people to ask themselves is, when I talk of everything around us, I don't just say Mother Earth, but I say Father Sky also, which means, the biosphere and everything that's around. And I just leave you with the one statement that, just think about it and research it. The statement is that every day the mass of the earth is increasing. And that mass is supplied by the sun. Okay. So that's how important, this masculine and feminine. I talk of, Gaia as a masculine and feminine part. So in this, so that's also part of, unity consciousness. It's for us to understand this entire fabric that we live in. And once we understand it, then I come back to, the original thing that I said. Enlightenment is at that level where you have reached, which will help you understand the results or effects of your thoughts, words, and deeds. And if your thoughts, words, and deeds are in service and in a benefit and in collaboration and in creativity to all else around you that is, nurtured and supported your life, that's when I think we are really living in unity consciousness.
Thank you, Darrell. As usual, it's a very deep, very encompassing talk. I like the concept of our body, which is the temple. I mean, it's written in the Gospels and it's written everywhere, no? But it's a beautiful thing that you said, because which I believe too, and that we should not commit violence on the body in any case, in any manner whatsoever. I like that idea. I like the way you connected the Garden of Eden, no? That we are gardeners and we have to take care of the animals. No? It's our duty in that sense as gardeners. The gardener can't hurt his animals or his plants. No, I like that concept. I like the concept that that of God. That we are all connected on the earth together, no, and as one. The earth is also a part of that, and formula of how to change what you need. I like that, so that every day you think what you are getting, you make an introspection and how to get it without hurting the earth. Another very beautiful.
Yes. Frank, I would like to say one more thing in that. The deeper question that I missed was, we have to ask ourselves, from Mother Earth and Father Sky, what am I taking and what am I giving back? So, we like to take the, natural 5 elements, right, of earth, water, fire, air, space. So we like good sunlight, we like a pure water, we like a clean air, right? We like good soil for our food. So we like all these things in our purity. But the question is, am I returning this back to Mother Earth and fire, sky in their purity? And this is what modern civilization is not doing, and that is the result of all our catastrophes. And may I say again, all the indigenous tribes of the earth, they never contaminated any of these elements. That's why they brought the earth for the last 10,000, or you count the number of years, if you know about 10,000, 20,000, whatever history you know. And you'll be shocked that human beings have ended all of that in the last 200 years.
True.
So that's the kind of mess that we are doing. So I would say that the best thing is, people, I've been sending out this message in the theme of, from a madhouse to a mud house. That's how I left, Mumbai, and from a concrete jungle and came into my ancestral, mud house in Goa. So I tell people, get out of that format, get out of the matrix and come into nature and into natural living. And that's where, humanity is going to script a new life and a new earth.
Thanks. I like the last thing very nicely. You said the energies are always bigger than the problem. So that's really beautiful. Thank you very much. And please accept, 1 second. Please accept this certificate. You can see the certificate. I hope I can't see it. On behalf of WAO team, yeah.
I think it's coming up.
It's coming up. It's not come.
Not yet.
Oh, okay. Okay, I don't know. Maybe there's a glitch from my side. Anyway, so now we have. Oh, it was dominating.
Certificate, yeah. But anyway, anyone who was.
Yeah, yes, I receive your thanks with love and joy. Thank you, everyone.
But be there, Darrell, for a few minutes. We will have a panel discussion, no?
Of course. Yeah. Yes, I will. Thank you.
Okay, our next speaker is Amrita Man. And Amrita is a healer, a yogini. Her journey with healing started young. However, it was in 2009 that she decided to focus on it full time and help others on their path to healing and soul connection. Yoga and meditation has played a huge part in helping Amrita understand the deeper nuances of healing and understanding the subtle language of the body. So today, Amrita will talk on how spiritual values, virtues, and vices affect our well-being energetically, and how they cause changes in the body, end up in diseases. So when we change our personality and beliefs and vice into virtue is when healing starts happening very rapidly. So very, very beautiful topic, and over to Amrita. Amrita, you have to unmute, please.
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yes. Yes, Amrita.
Am I audible?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Hi, everyone, and thank you all so much for inviting me to wonderful. I'm really grateful for being able to be a part of this, these wonderful souls. And so basically, my journey started very young. And like I said, most of us have have been on this journey because we have gone through certain issues in life through which we have come out. We have used our disadvantages to our advantages, basically, and come out stronger, more whole, and happy people. So we've understood the higher purpose for whatever we've been through in life and all. And one of my main the thing that led me to healing basically was I had a medical issue which medical science had no answer to. And so I had to, like in my teenage years, try and find answers myself. And we always feel like, we all know about the law of karma. We all understand the law of karma. And the beautiful thing about law of karma is in terms of unity consciousness is what I feel is that what you do to others comes back to you in some form or the other. Nothing is happening by chance. Nothing is happening, just randomly to you in this universe. So, but we don't think of it, in terms of illnesses or in terms of things that you have, diseases in general. And in my healings also, I've seen, we don't think of it in terms of our virtues and vices or what we call sanskars. And this is something which has come to me through my healings, through divine guidance, that we all understand chakras. We all understand that we have an energy body. We have these 7 major chakras in our body, which is also what we call, where all the meridians or the nadis of the bodies intersect. So it's the energy center which controls certain endocrine glands. All the chakras are related to an endocrine gland, which is affected by our endocrine system is affected by our emotions. And so it's the chakras are not something which is on one level. What I have understood is that it has a physical aspect to it, it has an emotional aspect, it has a mental aspect, which is our thoughts, and it has a karmic or a spiritual aspect as well. So, which is called the causal body. So we have these, 5 sheets, which is a part of our aura, and these 7 centers, which are basically controlling every aspect of our life. And whatever happens to us is, it happens because there is a blockage or there is something in that particular center that we have not tended to. And and the chakras are also evolutionary in nature. So the vices that we have, they block the chakras, and the virtues that we have, they help in opening and helping us evolve higher, in the sense that, so we'll start with the basic. which is the root chakra or Mooladhara. Mooladhara, the first thing, when evolution starts, you want, what you want is survival. It's a center associated with survival. It is associated with, um, your food, your sense of security, whether you feel, whether you have the finances. So to an extent, it affects your, how your finances have been as while you were growing up, and your foundation years will also have an effect on the base of the spine or the Muladhara chakra. Muladhara controls, our adrenal glands. It controls the in the sense that, like, when we have insecurities, or when we have certain physical issues, it also controls the physical body, the hands, the legs, and fight or flight response. So any issue originating there at the base of the spine, you will see it, you will see people having issues in the basic chakra. Or if you'll see basically somebody who has a lot of fear of finances, or not has not had a very grounded childhood. It connects us to basically the earth. Also, it connects us how connected we are to Mother Earth, how connected we are to our family, to our ancestors. So if you don't have that connection there, you will always be insecure. That insecurity to manifest in the form of, say, uh, a back pain, a lower back pain. And it like I said, it doesn't happen randomly. These things, everything happens to us for a reason. So whenever this happens, you have to think deeper and see that, okay, why have I had this, or why am I going through this? So even something like fever, or something like when you have nausea, or you're throwing up and all, it's basically your system, your body listens to everything. It knows everything before you know. So it's basically your emotions telling you that, I'm not digesting this. I'm not being able to, uh, assimilate this information that I have got, or something that has happened in my family, or something that has happened with me. You'll have digestion issues. So that center gets affected, when we have when we are not being able to digest something. So it's basically like that. And then the sex chakra is associated with your sense of, then once you have your basics, then you want then you want your material life to be fulfilled. Then you want a family, you want children, you have certain desires. And that part, your sex chakra, is all about, going out and in the world and meeting people, mm, about your self-worth, what you think about yourself. Because at that point, that self-worth comes from what people are, perceiving you to be. So if you have low self-esteem, if you have any issues with your sexual glands, that also is all a reflection of how we are. The vice associated with that can be lust, it can be greed, it can be wanting more of materialistic things. And the virtue that actually balances that is temperance and moderation, knowing how much is, how much I truly desire, and how much then goes into greed. So when you understand, your values, you can also balance your energy centers in that aspect. You understand that, okay, this, because I'm behaving like this, it's happening. This particular illness, or this is why I'm suffering this particular situation in my life. Then we come to the solar plexus, which is again, it's a center of willpower. It is a center of understanding yourself better. And uh, basically, like, when we go out in the world, we've established our finances, our family, our home, everything is safe. Then it's all about us. So it's about, do you really, are you safe in yourself? Are you safe in your body? Are you, or are you too much of an extreme and you become selfish? Because any kind of fear, any kind of even guilt, these are emotions which get stuck in our solar plexus, in our stomach ache. Like that, when we feel that there's too much to digest and we're not being able to assimilate the information or the situation, then it all affects your stomach, your liver. If you have any extreme emotion, it will affect, your liver. You have bitterness, it will affect your pancreas. And this is all like something which I have seen in my healing. So whenever somebody comes to me with, saying, I don't eat cholesterol, I don't have, I have a perfect diet, but I have cholesterol and I have a heart issue. So it's not really your diet so much which is causing the cholesterol sometimes, but it is your anger. And we see a lot of people, in our own families, you'll notice somebody who's super healthy, super conscious about everything, at least their fitness, physically fit, they'll eat right, they'll exercise, they'll do everything, but their emotions are not balanced. Sorry, their thoughts are not balanced. And that is, or they may have extreme anger or extreme, even say, you know, uh, they have resentment. When you have resentment, it will affect your heart, it will affect your, BP. And that is just something, that's how the meridians are formed in our body. That is where, the center that pumps the blood up to the heart is the center which also controls our emotion of anger, our emotions of forgiveness, whether we are able to forgive or we are not able to forgive. So whenever we have those emotions coming up, you'll notice that, the heart center will get affected. After the solar plexus, we come to the heart. The heart is one center which is actually the center for self-love before anything else. It is the center for compassion, and we all love our family. Till the heart is because we all have love for at least our near and dear ones, at least for somebody in our family. So every time you feel love for someone, your heart center is expanding, your heart center is activated, and it flows, it keeps open. But when we don't have self-love, when we don't feel like, we are important or we need to do something for ourselves, then we truly cannot love another person. And I know this may seem a little difficult to understand in theory, but I'll just give you an example. So it's like my friend invites me for dinner. I don't feel like going that day. I'm just not in the mood, but I will force myself to go because I don't want somebody else to feel bad. So I'm forcing myself to do something which I'm not doing completely from my heart. So I'm already like, there's already a heaviness or a block in my heart. And then we have, like if somebody does the same thing with me, but I understand because I have self-love. So I understand that if that person is not up to it today, so I will be able to respond to that person in a way that will make the person feel comfortable, instead of saying, I did it for you, now you should do it for me. Because love should be unconditional, which only comes when you truly understand yourself and you can open up, your heart center to yourself first. Then we come to the throat, which is the most interesting center. It's also called the abyss in Kabbalistic studies. That is because there's so many things, socially we are told. And throat center is something which is, I think, in 90% of the people, it is affected because we have not been told how to express things that we do not like, or say things that we do not like, maybe in a kind manner, or not keep things bottled up and not keep uh, most of our thoughts and our emotions that we don't express, that comes out in the form of a blocked throat chakra and thyroid, and any lymphatic disease also which you have is connected with the throat, because it's all a suppression of emotions that we feel nobody understands us. When we achieve that stage in life where we can make ourselves understood to people without making them feel bad, without being harsh in our words, because honesty, purity, these are all virtues of the throat chakra. So when you can speak yourself, speak your mind honestly, when you can be pure in your thoughts, you can transcend the throat chakra. Then comes the mind, the Agya chakra, which is all about a discernment. It is all about the wisdom as well to an extent, but it's more about your soul power, the will power, which is connected with the soul. Interestingly, your Agya chakra also controls, it's also called the master gland, the pineal gland, which controls the entire body. So, and which I find very interesting because that means your thoughts control your emotions, they control your physical body. And that is how the aura also works. We have the physical body, then we have the emotional, then we have the mental, and then we have the soul aura. And everything that happens, say if a karmic thing has to happen, it comes from the soul, it will make us think in a certain way, it will make us feel certain emotions, which will lead to a certain physical ailment in your body. So that's how the energy works. It comes from outside to inside. If it is, say if I trip and fall and I hurt myself, which is, and it goes from the physical to the emotional, it heals very fast. But when it comes from the mental inside to the physical, it takes, the mental body needs to heal, your ajna needs to heal, which is why it is called the master gland as well. So your thoughts have,
Amrita, the time, if you could, yeah, we're running short on time. Yeah.
I'll just take a minute more, I'll just quickly wrap it up. So your thoughts have to be in alignment with, whatever you, basically your well-being. And then we come to the crown, which is connected to source. It is connected to, it is also the that we talk about, that, we are one with everybody, because the crown is connected to, uh, to source. So if we have any negative thoughts about our life, that my life is like this, my life is like that, a lot of people have a tendency of complaining about life. That will shut your crown chakra off, because you are disconnected from source. You're disconnected from the cosmic energy which is just giving to you. It's constantly giving. How you receive is up to you. So when you shut that part of your life, then it becomes very difficult to assimilate anything. We feel blocked in life because there's no energy coming in. So that's basically the essence of how our thoughts, how our values and our virtues affect our well-being on many different levels. And which I find very interesting, because it never ceases to amaze me, whenever I'm doing healings and something is coming up and you understand that it's coming up because of a certain reason, or it's coming up because it's purely a physical thing. So this is something which I try to apply in my life, and I share it with everybody, because I feel it's very important that we understand, our energy from a deeper level.
Thanks, Amrita. I mean, very beautiful talk. A lot of things that one can learn. Vices block chakras, virtues open chakras. Very nice. Always ask the question, why am I having this? No, I mean, why? So that we understand all these things over the body is in issues within the emotion. So that's very beautiful. Then the health shows our imbalance of thoughts and emotions. Resentments relate to heart issues, blood pressure. Very beautiful. But what a beautiful thing to see the connect between the, how the whole thing is interconnected now. How we are very much connected. Our mind, body, the soul is all connected now, very delicately. Thank you so much, Amrita. Much, much appreciated. Okay, we have Alvin, but Alvin is not here personally, but I have got a video recording which I will play. Alvin Sequeira is an accomplished IT professional and a contracts negotiator. Alvin Sequeira has deployed unique and revolutionary IT solutions in oil and gas markets worldwide, leveraging technology and economics for increased productivity and communication within emerging established organizations. Having endured critical, demanding, highly stressed corporate environments, the persistent quest for a paradigm shift eventually led Alvin to venture towards becoming a proficient, self-sustainable, and environmental architect with a distinctive motivational outlook. Alvin promotes a lifestyle enveloped in greenery, sustainable living, and serene existence, while enthusiastically wearing a positive outlook on life with his cheerful disposition and exceptional oratory skills. So today, Alwyn will be speaking on recognizing, embracing the environment to provide spiritual healing. The environment is not just a place to dwell in, its immense energy provides peace and tranquility, providing an escape from stressful life. So I will play his video now.
Yes, Talbot, when you're sharing that video, there's a tick mark that you put at the bottom where audio also.
Okay. Now tell me.
Yeah, we can see Alwyn and we can see the video.
It is a pleasure to be here
You hear
today
it?
to speak
Audio is
to
on.
you about spirituality and the environment. I'm Alwyn Sekera, an IT professional in overseas oil and gas markets for nearly 20 years. I left early. I gave up my career at a very young age, primarily because I did not have any time to myself. I returned to Goa, and unfortunately I made some bad financial investments which ended up in me losing all my life savings. Everything that I had worked for was gone in an instant. It affected now my life, my marriage, and my family. This was more stressful than before, and I didn't know what to do about it. One day, while I went on a small excursion, this was in the jungle, I realized that I found a very peaceful calm. Just by hearing the birds, listening to the wind, hearing leaves fall, water, gave me a sort of calm, made me realize that there was a lot more to life and to living. When you're burdened with financial difficulties, you think of ending your life because you don't know what the next day is going to bring you. But being in this jungle now made me very calm, peaceful. I was able to think rationally. And what I decided to do is to spend a little more time in such an environment, to be able to think, to give myself some time, to be able to think more rationally about what it is that I was doing, about what it is that I had done, about my family, about my mother, my sister. And I wanted to make a change. Now that I was within a natural environment, where there was absolutely nothing going on other than the breeze, the sound of birds, I could feel the wind on my face, and it felt nice. These are the kind of things that suddenly brought some kind of soothing feeling onto me, and it felt great. I started to think to myself about all that had gone in my life over the last few months, things that had upset me, things that I had done which were wrong. And I decided that I would spend a little time every week within a natural environment to help me come out of the situation that I was in. And that is exactly what I started to do every other week. I spent a little time not only in the jungle. I started to build an environment near our ancestral home, which would cater for just this kind of existence. A green environment. An environment where I could be at peace and give myself time to think, to realize that I had a lot more that I could offer that I had to give up what I had already lost, to give up that thought, to give up that mindset, and to move on. And the only way that I could do this is by letting go of these thoughts and not dwelling on them. Because the more I dwelled on them, the more it affected my life. Being in a natural environment, I was able to see things around me, which took time to grow, time to flourish. That made me think that the same could be done by me. Even when the branch of a tree fell, the tree continued to grow. This was amazing. I had lost everything, and I thought my life was over. The tree lost its branches. The tree had been pruned. Grass had been cut. Yet over a period of time, these environmental factors continued to thrive, continued to grow. And trees that were pruned grew even better. It made me think that there was hope yet, that my life was worth living. Over a period of years, I gave up. I relinquished those thoughts. I tried to put everything aside which was bogging me down, which was destroying my family, which was destroying my marriage. And once I let go, knowing that it would never return, my marital life began to flourish again. My family, myself, we started to enjoy each other's company. There are times that I still do think about what I have lost, how much I worked to gain that. But I know that over a period of time, I can try and bounce back again. But it's not going to be easy. However, I have to admit that the environment has helped me immensely. It has shown me things that I never knew existed. When you watch environmental changes taking place, you know and you can see how much takes place within the environment, within nature, how it lives, how it fights to survive, and how even plants, trees that have been brutally damaged either by a cyclone or by other environmental or man-made factors bounce back to life. We too can do the same. One thing to remember is never to give up. Your mind has to be clear. Your mind has to be free from many of these thoughts. And the only way that you can do that is if you let go of the things that are hurting you. You cannot keep on holding on to them. You have to let your mind be free. I have found that being in a natural environment, being in the great outdoors, being amongst nature has helped my mind to be a lot more positive. It has helped me to think clearly. We will all come across things that affect us. Things that maybe we have done, which we are not happy about. But we must not allow those unhappy moments to bring down our lives. I have been through a number of these episodes. And I have learned one thing. There's a lot of negativity out there. Sometimes that negativity is introduced or is called upon by us indirectly. But what we need to do is we need to see the positive side of those negative effects. And once we do that, our mindset changes. And once your mindset changes, you will see a whole new world. And I have found that the world within a natural environment has helped me to become a much better person. It's not been easy. It has taken a lot of effort. And the most important thing for me is that I have told myself that I will let go of the things that are holding me down. Negative things will always be there. There will be situations which you are not always comfortable with. Try and see a positive side in every negative situation as well. It's not difficult. It's all within our minds. A lot of these factors can be controlled by us. I have found that despite all the things that I've endured, a natural environment has helped me. It's strange, but even the chirping of a bird sitting on a branch can give you a different mindset. Water flowing down a ravine or a mountain or even just a plain rock face can change your train of thought. It'll make you more relaxed. It'll make you see the light. It'll make you smile again. It is left up to you, the individual, to see things for what they are. And remember, there are things, there are situations, sometimes which you have created, but are not beneficial neither for you nor your loved ones. Once you realize, or once you're in an environment wherein you can use that area to your advantage, feel light, you will then realize that you sometimes need to let go of this negative element to make you a better, more positive person. That's exactly what has happened to me, and I'm happy. I've not lost anything. In fact, the way I see it is I have gained. I have become a much better person. My family loves me better. My wife loves me even more. And the same with me. I have realized that by being in an environment and letting myself understand what has happened, by making my mind free, there is now a much better understanding of me, of myself, of my family, of what I need to do, of how I need to progress with my life. It's never over. Don't think for a moment that just because there has been some disappointing, sad situations that you cannot control, that you are no longer able to fathom anymore, that it's all over. It isn't. It's up to you. You can make it happen the same way that I have. This is a real life experience. I thought that leaving a good, stressful job and coming back and returning would give me peace. But in fact, a wrong choice, a wrong financial investment left me penniless. But today I am not. I am not at all unhappy about what has happened. The environment has made me a better person. I do respect the environment now. The earth has taken billions of years to form. A natural environment where you can encompass yourself in greenery, in serenity, in peacefulness, in a different world altogether. And that is exactly what I have found. Peace in the environment. Thank you.
Wow, very beautiful personal sharing, really vulnerable of Alvin to share this with all of us, no? But it is a very beautiful connect to the topic of environment, the mind, the body, and giving us a real hope, no, in that sense that how we are all connected and how we can always start again. and how we are all connected to this oneness, and that if one thing goes down, the other thing is there to balance us. That was something very beautiful. I would just I would request what do you call Daryl and Amrita to, if we could just postpone the panel discussion together at the end, because of I think the time constraint. We have just gone beyond our time slot. So I hope Daryl and Amrita will understand this. Yeah. So
Yes, that's fine.
We'll just push it. We'll have the next panel on board, and then together we'll have the panel discussion. Yeah. Thanks so much. Thank you. Over to.
Very nice, Albert. Very nice. The way you handled this session and the way you've done your homework and everything. It is something very good for our moderators to learn from. And thank you for doing this.